Hello everyone and welcome to Red Orbit webinar. Today we partnered with our friends at Google to tell you more about strategies and tools that can help you grow your business internationally. Warm welcome to our speakers as well, Iordanis from Google and Andraž from Red Orbit. Iordanis will share key insights, best practices, and the Google tools you need to develop a successful expansion strategy. And later, Andraž will explain how to use hypersegmentation to improve the effectiveness of advertising and maximize the advertising budget in foreign markets. Please write all your questions in the chat box on your right, and we will be happy to answer them at the end. I believe we are ready to start, so Iordanis, please take over.
Of course. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Red Orbit, for hosting this event. And thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here, actually. As you already mentioned, my name is Iordanis Papadopoulos. Apparently, as you understand from my surname, I'm Greek. And right now, I'm casting from...
Iordanis, you're on mute.
Sure, it turned off on its own. Sorry for that. Yes, so as I mentioned, I'm casting live from Athens, and hopefully we won't have any connection issues since the internet is not the best at its best at the moment. And let me start presenting in this case. So today we're gonna discuss about export strategies. In the beginning, I'm gonna elaborate on some really important insights, also about the current trends and the current facts. And then afterwards, I will share with you some Google free tools, which you will be able to leverage towards your own benefit in order to help you with your possible expansion plans. And then in the end, we will discuss together some best practices and solutions when it comes to Google Ads solutions. So how you can leverage our Google solutions towards your expansion strategy and in order to create an efficient digital marketing strategy. So with no further ado, let me just go to the next slide. So let's start with the fact. 2020 is a year of change. Agile companies need to identify these changes early and leverage them towards their own benefit in order to innovate and provide the best solutions to their customers, the best possible options actually to their customers. Or you have the option just to sit back and watch these changes while they happen. So one thing is for sure that we learned many things during COVID-19, but some of the things that I wanted to share and highlight with you is that people expect more out of the brands. They expect brands to help them during these moments of crisis. People found new ways to interact with each other. So I'm sure that you've seen all the TikTok videos around the internet at the moment and the new ways that people interact with each other. People learned new ways to shop. So right now there is a big shock to loyalty. So consumers across the globe have responded to the crisis and they reevaluate and they reestablish their shopping patterns. We will elaborate on this in the next slides. And 10 years of digital transformation happened in just I would say happened in just 3 months. So what history has taught us about navigating through crisis? It's really important to understand that decisions you make now will have a big impact in the future, possibly in the near future, and especially during moments of crisis like this one. However, this crisis is different. We have many learnings. I already shared some of them with you, but there is still a path forward which is paved with uncertainty. So when it comes to COVID-19 per se, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if this home behavior will be permanent, what the changes are going to be. And of course, when it comes to an economic and policy perspective, so how our economy will be shaped in the future. And there are at the same time some implications for retail. Just to highlight some of them, like first of all, what will be the role of physical stores with online stores in the future? What will be the prominent distribution channels? And what will eventually consumers seek? What their consumer behaviors gonna be shaped like? And if, since buying patterns evolve, could a new type of seasonality arise? So right now there are a lot of new consumer patterns that arise, and I would like to have with you a short peek into how people's behaviors are changing as the coronavirus pandemic impacts our everyday lives. So some things that we came across with our ads research and insights team is that there are new relationships between consumption and spend. For example, we monitored a 2,000% increase in search volume in veg box delivery, 300% increase in the search volume when it has to do with free delivery, and 60% when it has to do with best online savings. These findings, these insights are really important for our future digital strategies. So as I mentioned in the beginning, consumers are creating new patterns. They're not that loyal, and now they search for new brands during this coronavirus pandemic. So they're in the phase where they're supporting new brands. And here you can see the percentage of people mentioned that they purchased a brand that was new to them during COVID-19, and that will probably continue to allow to buy afterwards. So right now, it's the moment to build brand awareness and consideration among the shoppers, to put your brand on the forefront of consumer minds. Another thing that is for a fact that online will play an important role during this holiday season. So in US, you can see like really high percentage in UK and Canada of the shopping destination that people will shop online more for these holidays. The inventory confirmation that more and more people will confirm online that an item is in stock. So that's something really important, inventory management. And of course, the source of inspiration, that people will tend to search primarily online for gift ideas, let's say. And consumers expect greater transparency. Consumers tend to become more and more demanding. And here you will see that, for example, UK and Canada, which are really important insights when it comes to establishing your expand strategy to which market you will expand to, that people in UK and Canada, for example, tend to over-index on most expectations when it comes to out-of-stock notifications, how important it is for them, in form of all delivery options, discounts. So these insights are really important to have in mind prior to or while you are establishing your go-to-market strategy. And of course, it's really important to have some clear steps. It's really important to take action early to recognize. So recognize these shifts in the consumer behavior and lay the foundations for a strong recovery. Capture dynamic demand. So as you've seen, search volumes around different verticals, around different categories tend to spike or tend to decrease. So capitalize on the momentum and commit to new models to build long-term business resilience. It's really important to innovate and be there for your customers. And last but not least, examples of how consumers and people are responding, just to highlight really two really short ones. For example, leading retailers in the US have increased the use of digital showrooms, online tutorials, and so on. So they help their customers during their purchase funnel. And European food retailers are shifting between different channels, testing different things. And other retailers are shifting their business models from B2B to B2C for fresh, pure produce supply. So from a business standpoint, I know it's really challenging for everyone. There's no doubt that marketing and expanding to a new geo during a recession is going to be During a pandemic, if you want, it's going to be challenging, possibly because you have to go against your instincts and standard operating norms. But right now, people shift to digital. As we've discussed already, people now are in the momentum where they test different brands, where they are becoming more demanding, and this gap or this spike that might be created in a market, in a different market, let's say in another market, might be a great opportunity that rises for you. So you need to capitalize, you need to leverage that opportunity. And insights are really important for that. So before we jump into the tools, first of all, let's see why companies go global. So it's really simple to answer that. Sometimes, first of all, might be a saturated domestic market, a really competitive domestic market, the purchasing power in your market or in different markets, the growth rate and the potential, your USPs, your unique selling points, like digital might be your primary channel. So that gives you the opportunity to be agile and be able to launch different markets and test different things. And of course, in some cases, we've seen that some markets now, like they're tending to stagnate compared to other markets which are not that competitive, but at the same time, they have really high growth potential. And the main obstacles when it comes to planning and executing an export strategy. So the main obstacle is the lack of market insights, something that we hopefully will help you with. And I will share the tools in order to do so, in order to do your due diligence when it comes to gathering market insights. And then, of course, like little marketing knowledge, not existing customer base, foreign competition, too much bureaucracy, difficulties in financing. And as a last obstacle, they mentioned that there is an absence of export partners. One thing is for sure that Google can help you with your international growth expansion plans. And here you have the basic pillars as we categorize them when it comes to creating your go-to-market strategy. The first one is the opportunity identification, like which markets should you expand to, which ones show the best opportunity. And here there are some specific pillars in this one. The barriers to entry assessment. Unfortunately, we can't help you with competition and compliance and tax legal, but we can help you when it comes to giving you a better overview of the competitiveness of this market. The third pillar is the operational go-to-market planning, so localization, payments, that's, for example, Google Pay, that's some tools that might help you with when it comes to go-to-market planning, and recruiting, logistics, and customer service is up to you. And then, of course, advertising solution design, of course, let's say that's we can help you in all of those pillars, and measurement and scaling, performance tracking, customized analysis, and automation. So the first step is to start with your own data where possible. Google Analytics, Google Play Developer Console, Google Search Console, Firebase Analytics, and other internal data, and supplement with Google tools. Some of the Google tools that I really enjoy and I find them extremely helpful is Google Trends. Probably most of you know Google Trends. Market Finder, it's a free tool. It's an amazing tool, and I highly encourage you to use this tool. It gives you a lot of insights about the search volumes in the market that you want to expand to, in the competitiveness of the market, if it's a good fit when it comes to your plans. Then Consumer Barometer, that shows you some insights about the persona, the consumer behavior there, some patterns when it comes to shopping, to video consumption, to device consumption, and so on. And last but not least, Think with Google, Ads on Air, and Skillshop. Think with Google, it's consisted of many articles that have really valuable content and might shape your whole knowledge when it comes to your expansion strategy. Ads on Air and Skillshop, these are video trainings and provide you with robust knowledge around our products. So I've already mentioned the Google Market Finder. So this is how the interface looks like, and it helps you define new market and understand the local feature regarding these countries, payments, advertising landscape, and purchasing behavior. I will go through them really fast since we don't have that much time. And of course, Google Trends, which help you identify rising trends. And actually, quite recently, we have launched retail trends. So you can go there and experiment in order to figure out which markets, which verticals, which products have really high seasonality at the moment and they're reaching their peak or increasing, decreasing, and so on. Then I've faced that challenge, let's say, with many of our partners that we've been working with. They want to translate large keyword lists super fast. So the simplest option that you have is using Google Sheets with Google Translate, and that helps you translate really long keyword lists into the language that you aim for. And of course, you can, like as a second step and more professional step, you can have your in-house team or hire external consultants when it comes to localizing your language and your keywords. A frictional purchase experience is critical, so you need to optimize for mobile, 53% drop-off from slow page speed. You need to have local payment options, so 62% of people are less likely to purchase when site experience is poor, and subscription enabled. Also focus on a lead generation model, like to warm these leads, providing a really fast subscription model process and the best customer experience for these people. Improve the speed of your website. It's really important, like 52%, if I recall correctly, believe that the page speed also has to do with loyalty. And we have an externally accessible tool, Test My Site, where you can get precise recommendations for your website and what areas you should improve. The other tool is Grow My Store tool, where you can get a frictionless purchase experience. Is critical, where it gives you a really detailed report about your e-commerce store regarding UX and UI. Right now, it's available only in specific regions. And this is one of the most important slides. Let's say that you gather all those insights. Let's say now that you're in the phase of launching into these markets, you need to have this go-to-market planning checklist. For example, do you need to localize your website? What are the patterns in this case? Like most of the European consumers, the majority of the European consumers, they tend to read content in their localized language. So what's happening in this case? Do you need to localize your products? What payment methods do they use there? How will you manage your international marketing? How will you allocate a budget? And things like that, which are super important. And I would definitely recommend you to copy this checklist and do your own due diligence prior to expanding to this market. This is just food for thought. And then, of course, we offer some high-end Google solutions in order to help you grow your business with a set of Google solutions tailored to your marketing objectives. So when you do attract a customer, it's critical to have a good experience. You need to connect with them with every step, especially now that they live online. You need to provide an easy checkout. For example, I've seen cases where you have to fill out a form with many data which are not needed. And in some cases, you can't even buy product as a guest. You need to log in. You need to register. And smooth, fast shipping and a delightful customer engagement. So, for example, let's focus right now on the shipping experience. Let's say that your value proposition that you offer, you have great partnerships and you offer great shipping option methods. So in let's say that you were planning to expand to Belgium. In this case, you need to assess what's happening in this market. What, for example, is the estimated retail e-commerce revenue? This was, for example, for Belgium. What's the estimated year-on-year growth? And regarding the shopping experience, what's the average delivery lead time? What's happening in this market? Because in your domestic market, you might be competitive when it comes to shipping options, but in Belgium, for example, you might figure out that you're not that competitive. So you might need to reevaluate your strategy, or you might need to assess another market to go to. So a smooth, fast shipping is really important. 56% of customers abandon carts, and I will show you in a moment how you can leverage our solutions when it comes to shipping options. And 38% would never shop with a merchant again due to a negative delivery experience, of course. And you need to overall offer a great shipping experience. Don't just tick some boxes, tick all of the boxes. Offer both a standard and next day expedited delivery option. Free shipping option needs to be included. Alternative delivery options available for some markets. Ensure that they can track progress and easy return processes, and ideally free returns. So one of our main solutions is search, Google search. So show up when people search for what you offer, be there in their moment of need, and capture the intent. Keyword, for us, what a keyword means? A keyword means commercial intent. People are actively looking for you. So that's what I wanted to, how I wanted to combine it with a shipping option and the shipping value propositions that you might offer. For example, we offer the option of call-out extensions, and they boost engagement and click-through rate with your customers. So here, you can tailor-made and you can highlight your unique selling points, your value propositions. And for example, in the case of shipping, here you can provide, if you say, free shipping payment option. So it's more likely for the customer when they get this information in advance to click on your ads. And of course, that's just some of the extensions that we offer. I just want to highlight those two. If your audience is price sensitive, and that's what you offer, like better prices compared to your competitors, you can highlight those prices. So people will know in advance, and the likelihood of going to your website and convert, since they are already educated and informed by you with tailored messages, it's critical. The next option we offer, it's shopping campaigns, smart shopping campaigns. If you've seen, right now, unfortunately, they're not available in Adriatics, but hopefully there will be. So if you've seen, like, with creatives, when people are searching for a specific product and so on, you can show them the creatives, and for the creatives of your products, you just upload your merchant feed with your product, and when they search for, let's say, leather jacket, you can show these creatives on the top of the search results, as you see on the left corner here, and of course, among the customer journey. So yeah, we already highlighted shopping, so show off your online and local inventory in order to show to the people like the products that they're looking for with really good creatives. Some of these, like people, they don't spend most of their time on Google search, they spend it also on other times and so on. So, in order to have a plus 90% reach, we provide the option of the solution display, so you can reach more people in more places online with your banners, with your product. You can be on the top of the mind for all your consumer and connect with them through their journey. And an option that I'm a really big fan of, and a solution that I'm a really big fan of, like people, they don't tend to convert immediately in some cases. So in order not to lose those customers, these potential customers, you can retarget those people with tailor-made creatives and so on, either to when they have reached to the cart and they were going to purchase a specific product, then you can show them this product, or maybe even discounts and so on. So it's a really powerful tool when it comes to performance and bringing your not converters back. And another really powerful option, which will help you, and we discussed that in the beginning, now that people search for new brands, is video. So bring your business story to life with video. It's really important right now, and especially when you enter a new market, that people are not aware of your brand and so on, to establish your brand, to highlight your message, to highlight your story, to highlight your products. And we offer plenty of solutions. So we offer, for example, TrueView for Reach, where you can reach a large audience across YouTube, and the algorithm, the machine, will know that this is the primary goal. Our primary goal is to reach as many customers as we aim for, to show them our brand. And of course, 83% of TrueView for Reach auction campaigns drove a significant lift in ad recall. So people will remember you. Bumper ads, this is like to create a hype around your product. They're really short videos, 6-second videos, intended to serve primarily on mobile. And for example, we've utilized this option with one of our partners during, for example, Black Friday, when we launched in a new market, and they ran a really short video where they were mentioning that stay tuned for our new website. Or in another video, they just highlighted their products, they're selling shoes super fast, and they created a hype around their brand, which of course led to a significant lift in their organic search volume around their brand. And then last but not least, when it comes to video, for lower funnel actions, TrueView for Action. Target high intent audiences and drive action with a customizable blue call to action button. In this case, we've seen that it also helps your other digital marketing activities, but at the same time, it helps you generate a lot of actions related to video. In this way, you educate your customer, you establish your brand, but at the same time, you're aiming for action. You are aiming for people that you want them to drive to do a specific action. And we've launched this is sort of a new product. This is it's called Discovery Ads Campaigns. So it allows you to reach users based on what they have recently searched for, and it allows you to connect with your audience across their favorite Google feeds, YouTube, Discovery, and Gmail, utilizing for the existing social media spenders, let's say. You can utilize your creatives. You can use these creatives for Discovery Ads campaigns without having to change many things. It's a really powerful tool now, and it allows you at the same time to get your brand out there, but at the same time get many leads. It's for upper funnel, but also for lower funnel clients with high intent, and more on the upper funnel for people that are just browsing, let's say, so you will convey your message. And of course, we offer many audience targeting options. What I would like you to get as a takeaway from this slide is that when it comes to demographics and interest habits, it's primarily for ad recall and brand awareness. And when it comes to intent and action, we offer the options of live events in market, like what people are searching for, what are their persona, their patterns, and so on. Similar audiences, so you can leverage your existing customer base when you launch to a new market, and have like similar audiences. So tell the algorithm to search for people that have similar buying behaviors to the existing ones. That's a really powerful tool in order to help you scale really fast. And with that slide, I have come to an end. Thank you very much for hearing me out. And now I will pass on to you.
Great, thank you. That was a great presentation. Let me just start my presentation as well. Here we go. So Iordanis explained a bit more about how to expand to international markets, and I think he showed us all some great tools that we are also using at RedOrbit. My presentation is aimed a bit more towards what are the potential pitfalls of the expansion and what we learned in the past working with different clients, expanding to different markets across the globe. And one of the main reasons, or the main reasons to not to fail, but to have more troubles expanding into new markets is customer segmentation. What does it mean is that what we see usually is that strategies and approaches that are clearly working great in Slovenia cannot be just copy pasted to other markets, because other markets are much bigger and they behave totally differently. So my presentation will go into that direction. But before we begin, I need to address Corona as well. As you know, not much has changed since last year. We are all working from home now, wearing face masks and homeschooling our kids. So all our lives are basically quite normal. But then on the other hand, joke aside, what is changing is that online actually became the new normal. So whatever your business is ready or not, users are searching for solutions and products online, and you should adapt to that. And of course, everybody's trying to increase their online revenue, rather maybe because of the COVID situation, but maybe that's, or I guess usually that's just a normal business procedure, just to expand the revenue and expand to new markets. Basically, there are two ways to grow your online revenue. One, and the most, let's say, used approach is, of course, acquiring new customers, which is done usually through advertising, and of course expanding to new markets is part of this approach or this strategy as well. The second approach is convincing the existing customers to buy more often from you, to buy with more products with higher frequency and so on. But in both cases, what's really crucial is customer segmentation. So what is customer segmentation? Basically, what we are saying, or what we are talking about, is that we have a bunch of different users on our website purchasing different products from different categories with different backgrounds. And what we are trying to do is basically segment them in more clear cohorts or segments where we can combine users with similar attributes. Of course, it's quite simple, but using digital approach or digital technology, this can get much more complicated. So why are we actually segmenting users? First of all, what we are trying to assess is how do we target our consumer? Which markets do we focus on? How do we message our target audience, and so on? Where do we position our brand, our product in comparison to our competition on the market? And how do we create more intuitive customer experience? That's the marketing part. But segmentation plays a big role in business growth as well. And we are trying to answer questions about how customers are engaged with our business, what's our ideal customer profile, how do we scale our business with different segments and different user groups, and how do we retain our customers. In the past, usually segmentation was done based on demographic data, age, gender, education, maybe location as well, when we were talking about expanding to new markets, or especially outside of Slovenia. Slovenia is just too small to segment on a city level. Then in 90s, I guess, early century, our century, more and more clients or more and more retailers start to segment based on products. So what people are actually buying, TVs versus laptops, what sorts of TVs, high-end laptops, and so on and so on. But what digital brings to this equation is basically segmentation on psychographics and behavioral data. And this is what really plays the crucial role, and how can we leverage this data, the digital tools, to, let's say, segment better, and of course optimize our business towards bigger revenues. So what is behavioral segmentation? First of all, we can split this on many different levels, but these are the 6 most important ones. One is user status. So first-time consumer versus regular repeat consumers. Then the benefits that users are seeking, economy versus quality of service and stuff like that. Market maturity plays a huge role when we are entering a new market. So is this new market that we are considering in the stage of early adopters, or they are late adopters, or are they laggers, which of course assess or defines your marketing strategy, because if it's a quite new market, your strategy should be totally different comparison to, let's say, developed market. Then we have the on-site and off-site behavior, loyalty status, and segmentation based on recency, frequency, and monetary value, and of course digital footprint, which means that we gather different data from our users, let's say location, device that they are using, browser and stuff like that, to learn more about them and then segment based on their technology and stuff like that. So how do we do it, and why is it so important to segment when we are entering new data? First of all, as I said, Slovenia is a small market, and things that basically work in Slovenia are hard to copy paste to, let's say, Germany, UK, United States, and bigger markets. Because even if the approach would work, the budget that we would need to invest in that kind of advertising is 40 times bigger than we have it in Slovenia. Second, so it's not effective. And secondly, majority of users are not the ideal customer profile for, or ideal customers for you. So first thing you should do is define the ideal customer profile. What's the ideal customer profile? It's a tool or approach which helps you identify your target audience. It can be used based on for B2B or B2C. It works in either case, and basically you define your target persona, but not the target persona that we are used to from the past. I don't know, married, aged 40 to 50, loves hiking and stuff like that. That's all good, but you need to translate this persona into digital persona. So think about how we can actually target this ideal customer profile. Then define what's really important for them, and score and rank your customers or potential customers based on that. So if I move to another slide, maybe it's going to be a bit more clear. So for each customer profile, you define different criteria. Let's say 5 different criteria which defines the ideal customer profile, and then you define the value for this criteria. And you can actually segment on every level for all the users that are customers that are coming to your website with, let's say, marketing automation tools or CRMs, with lead scoring and solutions like that, how well they fit your ideal customer profile. And the ones that fit the most are the best, and you should invest in, let's say, remarketing or marketing to them much more heavily than actually to the ones who are not fitting your customer profile. The second thing is, or a bit more advanced approach is using hypersegmentation. And this is how we are going, about what we are going to talk about today. What's hypersegmentation? In the past, prior to digital era, or on TV advertising, it's still quite normal to target basically everyone. You say, okay, of course, your target audience is, let's say, women aged from 25 to 45, but then you kind of assess which TV channel fits that profile the most, and you put your TV advertising there. That was the past. In digital, we were all, for years now, we were trying to segment a bit. So we were trying to split this huge audience into smaller parts, but with introduction of, let's say, more advanced integration between web analytics, Google Analytics, your CRM data, marketing automation tools, you can basically profile and segment on user level. I'm not saying that you need to segment on user level, but there are tools and there are approaches which will enable you to segment based on much more advanced data and help you to create smaller segmentation, thus the name hypersegmentation. So basically what we are talking today is how can we connect data which are we gathering from offline, from users in CRM data, past transactions, what they actually bought, which products, what's the value, how recent was their last transactions, in combination with marketing automation, which will tell you how often are they visiting the website, what content are they looking for, and so on and so on. Are they opening your email that you are sending, and Google Analytics data. So what's the sources users are actually coming to the website, how often do they convert, what's the conversion rate, time on site, bounce rate, stuff like that. And based on all this data, with a bit help of, let's say, machine learning, or let's say artificial intelligence, you can create really small and targeted remarketing lists. And these remarketing lists are based and updated automatically in Google Analytics and can be, of course, used with Google advertising as well. So by default, Google Analytics, if you implemented user ID, will allow you to see user level data. So this is just a screenshot. You have user ID, whatever the ID is. You know when user was first seen on the website, what device he's using, what website he visited, when he visited the website, what events did he fire on the website, did he purchase anything, what's the customer lifetime value with online transactions, of course, only, and stuff like that. That's all good. But today, because we can import and integrate marketing analytics and CRM data, we can extend this with custom dimensions. And this is just a case what we done with one of the telco companies in Slovenia, and basically all of our biggest clients, retailers, have this implemented as well. We can use the custom dimensions and import data from marketing automation, CRM, backend system, ERPs into Google Analytics. So we know which packages they are using, what's the lifetime value, what's their last transaction offline was, do they have this, I don't know, some silver or gold status in your CRM database, and so on and so on. Because we have now much more knowledge and data about this specific user in our Google Analytics, we can create much more targeted segments and use these segments to remarket to user. So what's the big picture then? When we are launching a new market, what we usually try to do, of course, is we need to build awareness, because you are a new player on this market, and there are usually a bunch of players who were there before you, so you need to build some awareness. And building awareness can be quite expensive. So, of course, if you have millions of euros to spend on each of the market, just start advertising everywhere, and that's going to be great, and it's going to work. But majority of us, we don't have millions of euros. It needs to be much more targeted and much more careful, and we are usually trying to achieve positive business results as soon as possible. So even the top of the funnel, that's TOFU, top of the funnel, is really important. How are we actually addressing the largest target group that we are trying to address? Here you can use custom audiences on YouTube, display advertising, discovery ads on Google, video reach campaigns, and so on. But a lot of these campaigns and approaches were already mentioned today. What you can do is actually translate your persona, your ideal customer profile, and import this in Google Ads platform. And I suggest you split this with different personas, so you see which persona actually works best for you. Then we have the middle of the funnel, the research phase of the consumer decision journey. So in this case, use Google search, but really be specific with keywords, and use YouTube for action as well, Google Shopping and showcase ads. Also Gmail ads with custom intent, maybe competition as well. And of course, similar and expanded audience based on your website and CRM data. Here, the catch here is basically learning additional information or additional behavior patterns from your target group and building additional remarketing lists in your Google Analytics. So based on this data, in combination with CRM and marketing automation data, you then create remarketing lists for advertising, and you import those lists in Google, in Facebook, in LinkedIn, and other platforms. And these are really, really niche lists. Could be, let's say, young males, could be only the customers who are looking for pilot sunglasses, and they are basically lovers of this brand because we know that they purchased, I don't know, 5 items in the past 2 years. You can target only high spenders, which means that they are spending 50% more than the average order value is on your website. Or competition researchers. We know this by segmenting and targeting users on search who are searching for your competition, and so on and so on. You create these segments, small segments, and then you remarketing on the bottom of the funnel to those segments on Google platforms. Fact is that, and that's a case study that we did with one of our clients in the past, who were actually expanding to quite a lot of European markets. So what we find out that in the past, 98% of users who came to their website left their website without completing a purchase. And we were starting because the budgets were huge and they were leaving quite a lot of money on the table. We were starting to wonder, is there a better way to advertise and a better pattern that actually guarantees better results? So what we did is we actually tracked users from 21 countries across Europe, and we implemented 90 on-page events. So we basically tracked everything that users did on the website. Searching on the website, clicking on this specific button, drop down, add to cart, download a white paper, comparing products, and so on and so on. So 90 different on-page events. And first thing that we noticed is that the conversion rate really varied from country to country. So some countries were really great, some countries were a bit worse, some countries were in the middle. What we learned is that you cannot aggregate data from all the users, and you need to look at each country separately. And we start to research for specific countries why conversion rates were lower and what were the main, let's say, obstacles for from users from those countries to convert on our website. Based on all the events and all the data that we actually gathered, we plotted this data in our system, and so that there are two metrics, 2 components which really define how conversion rate, how high the conversion rate is, and that's the session count, so how often or how many times, what's the frequency of users coming back to the website, and they since last session. That's the recency component. And if we remove the lower conversion rate, we see that in this case, users who came to the website at least 6 times in the last 10 days were converting, and that's goal completion rates, about 70 to 80% on the website, which led for us to actually being able to predict the future. So what we were using is the past data. We were modeling the past data, learning from users and their behavior in the past, and predicting what the future will look like, and actually adapting our advertising based on that. So what we created is more than 500 niche remarketing lists, which were actually automatically updated. Each time a user came to the website or purchased something, this was connected back to Google Analytics. Remarketing links was updated, sent to Google AdWords platform, and it was basically a machine or a system which was refilling or rebuilding itself. And as I said, these were automatically updated through APIs. And of course, each segment, each list had a personalized ad. So it was really targeted communication as well, not just targeting. At the end, what happened is that in just 3 months after the implementation of this, let's say, approach, using hypersegmentation, we were able to double their growth and revenue. So what happened is almost 90% higher revenue, 150% higher conversion rate because of more targeted ads and marketing messages, while we had or reduced the marketing cost, the budget of advertising for 30%. And that led to almost 100% more transactions in just 3 months. So to conclude, a few guide points how to crack this, let's say, expansion and segmentation on new markets. First of all, create and define your ideal customer profile and ask your agency to translate this into digital custom audience or digital profile, so we know how to target your customers. Secondly, set up advanced analytics on your website, not just the basic Google Analytics, but more advanced in implementation, and integrate external data like CRM and marketing automation tool, because this really makes a difference. Then based on the data that you will have in Google Analytics, create microsegments. And of course, use these segments to create top of the funnel advertising, follow up with hyper-segmented remarketing lists, and then of course, test, learn, and adapt. There's no way anyone can crack it with the first go. You need to test it out, see what's working, what's not working, and adapt your strategy while doing this. So that's it from my side. And now, if you have any questions, I think we have some time to answer them.
Thank you very much, both. We did receive some questions. Just a second. Iordanis, in your opinion, what's the main criteria when evaluating on which market to expand? Is it the size of the market, search volume, CPC, competition? What do you think?
Thank you very much for this question. Actually, Andraž, I love the test, learn, adapt, and I think it's also a good fit for this case. But I will reverse the question. I will ask you, what's the main criteria for you when it comes to evaluating on which market to expand? So, for example, from our side, for us, 3 metrics play super crucial role, but that's like just in the beginning. Then we deep dive. The first one is the competitiveness of the market. The second one is the growth of the market. And the third one is the complexity of the market. So how many resources do you need in order to expand to this market in terms of language, in terms of payment method options, and so on. So for me, these are the 3 main pillars, let's say, that we focus in the beginning. And then some other things that we take under consideration, they're super important as well, is like the volume of the market, how big it is. And maybe I would say also, like the volume. And I want to say a second thing, but now I forgot about it. Probably I'm getting older. I will think about it and get back to you in a second.
If I may add, what I'm usually also considering is the cost of sales. So, because we are talking about retailers, and even if you're B2B, what's your margin? You know what your margin is. Try to calculate and assess what the CPC will be, what the conversion rate is that you can actually expect on a specific market, and based on that, you can actually calculate or predict what the cost of sale will be. Is your margin large enough to actually support this cost sale? If it's not, you need to rethink either different market or either different business approach.
That's a great point, actually. Yeah, we see it from a marketing perspective in most of the cases when it's also business perspective. But I wanted to also mention, like, it's the buying strength that the customers have. Like, what's the average basket in this market? That's also super important. And on top of what you mentioned, for example, some cases we get the keyword leads around to according to our clients' products, and then we run them in Keyword Planner, or their agencies do that, and they assess the competitiveness of the market, and they evaluate accordingly. They test, learn, and adapt, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Great. We also have questions from Sarah. Will all businesses eventually move to online environment? Do you advise for all companies to move online, establishing online stores? What do you say?
Who's going first? Go ahead.
You can go first. You can go first.
My answer is no. So I don't think that all businesses will move online or completely online. I think online will play a crucial role in the future, and it's going to be even more important than it's nowadays. But no, I don't think we can just expect that all businesses will be online only or marketing online only. So we need to adapt to the current situation, but as I think Iordanis already mentioned, I think at the beginning, that what is happening this year is just the trends that we were expecting in a few years. So it's not so different what the foresight was. I think we just need to consider how we can actually adapt to the situation.
I completely agree. Just on top of that, for me, you need to cover both aspects. You need to be present online, but if it makes sense for your business, to be present also with physical stores. But in cases like this, for example, during this crisis, we've seen that companies that haven't transformed digitally, or they don't have at least a digital presence, they were impacted the most. So if you can have both, I think that's the optimal scenario, and of course, according to your business needs.
Yeah, I totally agree. You need to be present online. If you're not, and I guess even if you're offline business, if you're like local business only offering local products, you can somehow transform into digital business as well. We've seen cases that that actually, let's say, invented new products only for the, let's say, lockdown periods, and were selling these products just to save the business, or maybe not to save, to flourish in another aspect, I guess.
Okay, thank you. We have also one more question from Robert. I think this is more for you, Andraž. What exact user segments do you recommend for sending to Google Analytics from CRM? How strict or loose those segments should be? Any other integrating recommendations?
That's a great question, Robert, and I think you know the answer, but still, I think, so basically you can say any data that you have in digital, you can actually send to Google Analytics. The question is, what are you willing to send? Because we have some clients who are a bit not untrusted to Google, but they're really limiting data they are willing to share with anyone. So you can share basically all that you have on customer level, or you can segment in CRM and send maybe more like coded messages to Google, which you can use for segmentation. So in one case, we have another telco company where we are doing customer segmentation in their backend CRM system, and we are creating this loyalty segments with different names in the backend system, and just sending a custom dimension in Google Analytics with this specific name. So we know what it means, but Google doesn't know, because they are not trusting. They are German, so they are not trusting Google. Sorry about that. But we can still segment and create campaigns based on that. But I think a better approach is to actually import all the transactional data from offline as well. So we have all what products they actually purchased, which category this product was, what was the price, all the frequency, or the recency as well. So you can actually create a RFM segmentation based on Google Analytics data, where you can use additional website behavioral metrics as well in this segmentation. I hope I answered your question.
Great. We almost ran out of time. Actually, we did, but maybe just one more question for you, Iordanis. What's the difference between Google My Business and other services as Google Places for businesses, Google Business Profile, Google Listening, Google Plus Business Pages? Any good practical experience from our region, if you could?
That's a great question, but we will need plenty of time to deep dive into that, because there are many different products and a lot of best practices. I just wanted to share with you that now we offer, like, shortly, just super short, that right now we offer the option of Google free listings, shopping ads, for example. So that's something that you can utilize complementary to your existing Google Ads campaigns. So now advertisers have the option to do that as well. We've brought that. It was already allowed in the US, but now we've brought it to Europe. And if I may add on one question that I found really, if we have time, that I found really interesting, not that this question, it's super interesting, but it will take a lot of time. At some point you asked about, like, audiences. Someone asked about the audiences, and I found it really, really interesting. Which are the best and worst performing audiences by different regions usually? Do audience targeting need to be tuned a lot across regional markets and so on? What is your experience in general? So what is my experience in general is something that might work in one market, might be a disaster in a different one, and vice versa. They're not bad or good audiences. It depends on your goals. We offer many different audience option targeting options. But for example, if you want to target lower upper funnel customers, like to establish your brand and so on, as we shared in the last slide, you have the affinity option. Or if you want to target people with intent on the lower funnel customer journey, then you have the option of custom intent, for example, and so on. So there are not good or bad audience targeting options. Of course, they vary in terms of performance, and you have the option of observing these, just observing these targeting options, and then to monitor which one are performing the best, and then incorporate them in your strategy. I hope that makes sense.
Great, thank you. Well, we have one more question, and then I promise we will finish. Should a company invest in digital if the COVID situation will finish in the next year and everything will be back to normal and we could all go to fairs and do the business as we did before? What are your opinions? Maybe Andraž first and then Iordanis.
I'll be fast. I think that applies to B2B a bit more because we are mentioning fairs and stuff like that. I think even if the COVID situation ends in January, users adapted to using digital channels, and I think we are not going back. It's not going to stay the same like it's today or nowadays, but I think we are not going back. We are spoiled now, and I think all the companies should invest in digital transformation and trying to expand using digital platforms and tools. I'm not saying that you need to forget about offline, but you leverage what digital offers, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more, and I would reply with a question. When it comes to our lives, hopefully they will go back to normal. But when it comes to digital consumption and digital trends, will it go back to normal, or this is the new trend? And to make it as practical as I can, for example, now with Black Friday, we've seen that businesses, they tend like people, they haven't purchased their gifts, they haven't purchased their Christmas present at the moment. And during Black Friday, we've seen that companies that leverage this momentum, they capture these clients, and then these are becoming long-term clients. So it's a matter of what do you define as normal. In my case, now people need you the most, so you need to be there to help them in many aspects of their digital journey.
Mojca, I would just, we have another question here, which is really interesting, and I would just What is the reasonable cost? Yuri is asking, what's the reasonable cost of essential setup of remarketing analytics that I was talking about? It really depends. It could be from a few thousand euros to, let's say, 20, 30,000 euros, depends on the business size and what are the backend system that you're trying to integrate. I guess you can start with just integrating, maybe even manually integrating some remarketing lists in Google Ads, and then slowly expanding with a bit more advanced setup. But I guess in terms of the cost, it should be from a few thousand euros up. Let's say between 5 to 15 if you're a moderate size retailer.
Thank you, Andraž. Are you ready for one more question and then we finish?
Not from Urshka because she's provoking us.
Yes or no?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, for conclusion, a bit more open. What would be your comment on this as prediction or already have the solution? The ad-based internet is about to collapse. What comes next? Alternatives, if you have any comments.
You can go first. Iordanis.
That's a really difficult question, actually. How can you predict the future? According to my opinion, that's a personal opinion, it's not going to collapse. It's going to be more tailor-made, let's say, that according to the customer preferences and so on. There are a lot of discussions around data privacy and so on. But right now, the only trend that I can share, and I'm sure about this, is that the video consumption will definitely change dramatically, and we expect by 2022, for example, 82% of the internet consumption to be video consumption. If it's going to collapse or not, I don't think I'm the right person to answer that. But if you ask me, the likelihood of that happening is super, super low.
It was a great answer. I would just ask you back, Ursula, what's ad-based internet? So is internet really based on ads or not? Is Google based on ads? It is, I guess.
If you check our financial data,
financial, yes.
Financial,
but is internet based on ads then? That's the main question. But I think I agree with you that internet is going to change a bit. So we were really advertising focused in the past, and we are going into not the opposite direction, but slightly different direction in the future, in my opinion. Maybe it's going to be more subscription based. People are fed up with all the advertising. But I agree with you that I'm not sure if advertising will just disappear. I think it's here to stay, but it's going to be much more personalized and much more native or integrated into our lives. It's not going to be so aggressive. I hope so. But we need that. That's the only. How can you discover new products? I think it's going to be boring if the only way to discover new products is mouth to mouth or yeah.
That's the word I was looking for, actually, Andras, and I believe that's also a great answer. Like personalized, that's what's going to change, according to my opinion. Like people, companies that won't provide a personalized experience integrated, as you mean, to customer needs, they will tend to fade when it comes to digital marketing, while companies that constantly innovate and they find new solutions, new integrated solutions tailored to customer needs and searches, if you want, intent, then these will be the ones that will have a brighter future, let's say. But that's, again, just a personal opinion. You never know. Things change in a super fast pace, so you can't predict the future. Who could predict all this digital transformation happening this year?
That's true.
That's true. So we are at the end now. Thank you very much for attending our webinar. Just a kind reminder, don't forget on the next webinar we have in 2 weeks, how to be more data-driven. Thank you, Iordanis. Thank you, Andraž. And thanks to all attendees who were today with us. So thank you and take care.
Thank you very much
Bye.
for the webinar.
Bye.